All right, so you're looking to get up to speed on this whole Justice Department thing with Google, trying to break them up, right? Well, we've got this CBS News article. It lays it all out. And it's pretty wild. They're saying Google has an illegal monopoly. And they're talking about some pretty drastic solutions here. I mean, get this. They might force Google to sell off Chrome. Chrome! Can you even imagine? Like a world without Chrome.
Yeah, and it's kind of fascinating when you think back to what happened with Microsoft like 25 years ago. They were accused of using Windows to stifle competition, and now we're seeing the same arguments
In-
about Google. So are we really just seeing history repeat itself?
Yeah, so what exactly does antitrust mean, like, in this context?
Well, basically, antitrust laws are there to stop companies from getting too big and then using all that power to just crush the competition
Yeah.
unfairly, right? So this case, the Justice Department's saying Google's using its power in search to get ahead in other markets, like with Chrome for browsers and Android for mobile.
And what about those default search deals? How do those
Yeah.
hurt the competition?
Okay, so think about it. You buy a new phone, it's all set up. The default search engine is Google. Most people aren't going to bother changing that. So Google's already locked in a huge part of the market before anyone else even gets a chance. And those deals are worth billions to Google.
Billions.
Billions.
Wow. Okay. So Chrome, Android, default deals. That seems to be the core of the Justice Department's argument. They keep saying uneven playing field.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean for the companies that are trying to compete with Google?
Well, the Justice Department is saying, even if Google's products are good, their dominance is preventing real competition. They point to Android, the data they collect, those default deals. It's like
Yeah.
a race where one runner gets a huge head start and all the best equipment.
But isn't that just how capitalism works? The best product rises to the top. You can't argue that Google doesn't have amazing products.
That's the big question, isn't it? Is it really competition if the playing field isn't level? Does Google's power keep smaller companies with potentially great ideas from ever getting a foothold? That's what the court's going to have to figure out.
So let's say the Justice Department wins this thing. What would a broken up Google even look like?
Well, first of all, even if a judge rules for a breakup, Google's going to appeal, right? So this could drag on for years.
So years of legal battles, more uncertainty. Okay, got it. But let's say it does happen. What would a breakup actually mean for users? Like, would we suddenly be living in a Googleless world?
Not really. I mean, the Justice Department isn't trying to totally dismantle Google. They're more focused on separating the different parts, the parts that give them an unfair advantage. So Google Search could be its own thing, Chrome could be spun off, and Android might operate independently.
So instead of like one Google account that gives me access to everything, I might need separate logins for search, email, YouTube, all that.
Yeah, that's a possibility. And that could be one of the trade-offs, a more fragmented internet could mean more complexity for users, but it could also lead to
More competition.
an innovation.
More competition. That sounds good.
Right.
In theory. But would it actually lead to better products and services? I mean,
Yeah.
Google's pretty good at what they do.
Right.
Would a breakup mean? Like we
Mhm.
have to start using Bing for search. No offense to Bing, but
I get it. Google set a high bar for search quality. Years of data collection. Algorithm refinement, a breakup. Could disrupt those systems, at least in the short term. But it could also be a chance for other search engines to step up their game, compete on a level playing field.
so there's potential for innovation, but also a risk that things get messier for users. And then there's the whole political angle.
Right.
You've got the outgoing Biden administration. They seem pretty into this breakup. And then the incoming Trump administration. They seem
Yeah.
a bit more hesitant.
Yeah, the political context is huge here. I mean, President Biden appointed Jonathan Cantor to lead this antitrust charge. He's been super aggressive towards big tech. But now, with a potential new attorney general under Trump, the whole approach could change.
And we've got those contrasting statements from Trump and Matt Gaetz. Trump saying he doesn't want to destroy Google. Gaetz being pretty vocal about breaking up big tech. Sounds like they might have different ideas about how to handle this.
Yeah, it's definitely possible that a Trump administration would take a less aggressive approach, maybe go for fines or penalties instead of a full breakup. But they could also keep pursuing the case, especially if they see it as a way to rein in big tech's power.
So a lot of uncertainty.
Hmm.
On a political front as well, it seems like no matter what happens, this case is going to have huge ripple effects, way beyond Google.
Oh, absolutely. This is about more than just one company. It's about setting a precedent for how we deal with big tech. The outcome of this case could impact how governments all over the world approach antitrust in the digital age.
It's like we're at a crossroads. The decisions made now could reshape the entire internet. But before we get too deep into that, let's talk about what this could mean. For us, the users, we've been talking about how this Google breakup could, like, reshape the internet as we know it. But
Yeah.
what does that actually mean for, like,
Yeah.
users, like you and me? Would it be better, worse, or just different?
That is the question, isn't it? There's no easy answer. A more fragmented internet, it could have both challenges and opportunities.
Okay, so let's walk through it. Let's say Chrome becomes its own company. Would we see like a comeback for other browsers, like Firefox or Safari? Or would it just be a bunch of new players trying to grab a piece of the pie?
It's possible that those existing browsers, they would benefit from a more level playing field, without Chrome dominating. There's more space for innovation and competition, which could mean better features, faster speeds, improved security for users. But we might also see a whole wave of new browsers popping up, all competing for your attention
Yeah.
and your data.
So more choices, but maybe also more confusion. What about search? Would we still be Googling things, or would we have to learn a whole new vocabulary?
The search landscape could change a lot. Imagine a world where, instead of just defaulting to Google, your phone asks you which search engine you want. When you set it up, suddenly Bing, DuckDuckGo, all these smaller players, they have a real chance to get users.
I gotta admit, it's hard to imagine not using Google for search. It's like it's become a verb. But maybe some healthy competition wouldn't be a bad thing. But wouldn't it also be less convenient? Like right now, I use my Google account for everything: email, calendar, maps, YouTube. Would a breakup mean I have to juggle a dozen different logins?
That's a valid concern. A more fragmented internet could mean a less smooth experience, at least at first. Instead of one big ecosystem we might have to deal with a bunch of different services and accounts. It's a trade-off that policymakers and users will have to think about carefully.
So there's no easy answer. It's a complex issue with pluses and minuses.
Yeah.
But beyond, like, the practical stuff, this case also raises some big questions about power and control in the digital age.
Exactly. This goes way beyond Google. It's about how we as a society want to regulate big tech. Do we want a few companies controlling so much of the internet, or do we want a more decentralized market where smaller companies have a chance?
Like we're at a fork in the road for the whole internet.
Yeah.
And the decisions we make, they're going to have an impact for years to come.
Yeah, it's crucial for users to be aware of this, to be part of the conversation, the future of the internet. It's not just being decided in courtrooms, it's being shaped by all of us
Yeah.
through our choices, our voices, and our actions.
This has been a really thought-provoking deep dive. We've gone from the specifics of this case
Yeah.
to the bigger picture, the future of the internet. And it's clear that this story isn't over yet.
Definitely not. And as it keeps going, it's important for all of us to stay informed, think critically, and make our voices heard. The digital world's always changing, and we all have a part to play in shaping its future.
So as you follow this case and everything else happening with big tech, remember to ask the tough questions.
Yeah.
What kind of internet do we want? What are the costs and benefits of more fragmented internet? And how can we make sure that the future of the internet works for everyone? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the conversation going.